basically like the way you write scores, musical scores with drums is like with taka dum gudu gudu gudaka guda gudu gudaka guda gudu. And funny story is I was living next to my drum teacher, and I was like super scared to rehearse, and he was like, Xavier, I don't hear you rehearse at all. It's not good. And I'm like, yes, I actually am, because I was practicing my solos and rhythms like with the mouth.
Mm. Oh, awesome.
And so yeah, that. And then I saw a couple beatboxers in the metro when I arrived in France, in Toulouse. It was Engine, I think. Then Eng B, but at that time I didn't know what was beatbox. Might have heard like a couple beatbox stuff in songs, but I didn't know either. And then one day I found on YouTube, it was like 2006, and YouTube started like 2005. And I saw this 30-second clip from Razel, and it was beatbox. I was like, okay, this is it. Okay, this is like super cool. And then it was like a vortex that swallowed me whole. And yeah, like all these videos, like from the first conventions, that guy on Venice Beach. There was like old clips, like I'm not sure I can find them anymore, and then like the world champs, and then there was like Joel Turner at the Australian Idol. Yeah, it was it for me.
Cool, man. Yeah, that sounds like a really, really good journey. So yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of stuff that's inspired you along the way. Do you want to talk a little bit more about where you started as a teenager playing drums, and sort of you brought us up to Razel in 2006, but then what's happened since 2006 and over the last, I guess that's like 14 years? Do you want to tell us a little about your journey and how you got to here?
So interesting. So first, at first when I discovered beatbox was just a thing I was doing. It was more of a hobby. It was not even serious at first. It was just videos that I was watching and I was enjoying, but I wasn't the only one to enjoy. And then right around the same time, I met some friends of mine at university. It was my first year of university, and I was just like beatboxing after classes. And one friend of mine was like, "Oh, okay, keep going," and boom, he just started to freestyle on it and rap. And there was like, okay, there was two of my friends I didn't know were rappers, started like to jam on it. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Okay, let's keep this going. And after this, I met another beatboxer, and you know him. Guess what? Do you know Boris FX?
Yeah, no way, Boris FX.
So at that time in 2007, he was studying in Toulouse, and I met him in the metro again. So this metro thing is like has really got something in this journey, because it's where I met like the first beatboxers. So Engine, I saw him practicing like real hard, and I was like, what the fuck is he doing? And my mom was like, I was like super young, I was like maybe 7 or something. And he was like jamming, and I was like, what the hell is this? This is crazy. And I might have started to do this, and I was like, you better stop doing this, kid, And little did you know, a couple of years later, I met it, and same metro. I meet Boris FX. He's hanging out with a girl I know. I had met like a couple weeks before, so I see the girl. I went and to chat with her, and then she's hanging out with Boris, and at some point, like a trip goes, and he starts beatboxing. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, dude? You fuck, dude. Oh, I just started beatboxing, and I didn't even have my K snare back then, And so he actually taught me like some of the basics. Like my K snare is taught by Boris FX, and he had these crazy leap rolls. So I had seen like the first version of of the lip rolls back in 2007. You know he had this like a
Oh yeah. I remember
you
those
know.
ones. Hmm.
So, let's say yeah, Boris FX was pretty much my first mentor.
Big shout out to Bios FX, man. I hope this finds you somewhere in good health.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He
man.
was up all in the videos. He was showing me, yeah, Roxaloops is my friend, Skiller is my friend. I was like, what? What do you mean? And then he was showing me like these crazy ads, like he had been doing like with Bellatrix, and I think there was Hobbs in it as well.
Yeah.
That Swift car
Hmm.
commercial. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, fair play, man. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it turns out that like the beatbox community is very small and very friendly, and like it's easy to get into and to meet people and all of that sort of thing. Um,
Yeah, yeah, sort of. Because I think you have to really dig, meet the artists, like I mean the beatboxers, because they know they have the information. Because like
mm,
otherwise you won't find the information. No,
yeah.
I think for
That's it.
because like Toulouse has always been like a strong scene. You know,
Hmm.
it's in the south of France. It's not, it's not as big as Paris, and it's pretty much a corporate city. Like arts, it's not so much.
Mm.
They're very much into engineering and plain craft. You know,
Mm.
and
Mm.
but beatbox, there's always been there. I think the first French championship to happen in the city in Toulouse, and the only one was 2009. You
Mm.
know, so 3 years after the first one, and back then, what I forgot to say, back then in 2007, there were already battles because Boris FX he took me to one of the battles back then where there was other French guys like Keys. It's like old school legends. It was judged by Engine. There was also Johnny Madness,
Mm.
and yeah, it was like the first battle I saw, and yeah, he took it. He won that
Nice.
battle. Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah. Um, so talking of battles, I was watching the Seven to Smoke student battles, which you did last year, which you won.
Oh yeah.
And I was just looking through your battles and that. I was really because I met you a few years ago at the championships, and I was really impressed
Yeah.
with how much you
Well,
developed. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I saw what I saw was like a really varied style with some really cool and unique noises. And I knew you kind of had a few of those, but it was really nice to see how that's moved on. But the question I had was, so how do you come up with sort of new ideas for noises and flows? Does it just like come like a bang, like an idea, or do you have like a method for coming up with new ways of looking at things?
interesting. So I would say like several stuff.
Mm,
First thing is freestyle. I freestyle a lot,
mm,
um, especially when there's like silence or I'm in um, a vibrant place. So basically, like the metro, like the underground, is something like because I'm on the I'm on the ground like a lot. Unfortunately, I'm not an online person very
mm.
much.
Yeah.
Uh, I've like I've done my share of like going to and fro in the city, meeting people, meeting uh, bar owners, promoters, blah blah blah. And then so going to these places, I always take the metro, and the metro has this sort of resonance um, and yeah, that's pretty much where I train.
Mm.
Walking, um, and listening to the music. So basically, I practice a lot listening to music that I like.
That's a good tip. That's a really cool tip. I like that one a lot. Because a lot of
So
beatboxers kind of just do their own thing and don't listen to music. And especially, you can kind of go down a bit of a beatbox rabbit hole and kind of lose track of like what the real music sounds like. And that's cool. Like if you want to do like a show off little like all that sort of thing. But like
yeah,
for me, it's really important to have a musical style and to have that connection with other musicians.
yeah, it's funny. Like I don't I don't know how much. I think it's been yeah, like my flow is definitely inspired from this because it's funny because then sometimes I practice without the music and then I try out stuff
Hmm.
and then it's not like perfect. And then when I try this new stuff on music, that's where all the magic gets into place, because like there's a natural metronome in it, and
Yeah, yeah.
then you can groove to this. And like as a dancer as well, like okay, so dance as well is like one of the things I get inspired from.
Cool.
So I have a lot of dancer friends. I don't consider myself a dancer,
Hmm.
but I've got like hidden moves, But
Yeah,
so yeah, like so,
I've got lots of hidden moves. I keep them hidden in my bedroom.
you know, so like when I first heard about like this World Beatbox Camp at the Fair Play Dance Camp, I was like, wow, this is so sick. And like people who knows me, like they know I was both in the beatbox workshops, and I was like trying to go as much as possible at the dance workshops. And I met like crazy dancers who are teaching, and they actually, some of them actually use beatbox to explain their choreography.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So shout out to Will the Beast. Will the Beast is actually one of the teachers. So Salah is like one of the best dancers in the world. He uses beatbox in his shows, and there's Will the Beast who uses beatbox during his workshops. So he invited me at the first workshop. At the first World Beatbox Camp, to his workshop, and it was like the closing workshop of the whole 10 days. And I was like, yeah, come along, and okay, you study the choreography, blah blah, and you do the beat at the end. So I actually went on stage to like 1,000 people, and it was like, it was like very stressing.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh,
1,000 beatboxes as well.
yeah, but they were like crazy. There was the Napalms, there were the Alexinos, like we're hanging out just a couple buildings away. I'm like, what am I doing here? But it was fun.
Yeah, man, that
Uh,
sounds like a really cool experience. Um,
yeah.
so I like to get a little bit philosophical with some of these interviews sometimes.
Sure.
So for me, one of the interesting questions is that I've asked a few people. So what is beatboxing for you?
Oh man, it has taken a different meaning like through the past couple of months.
Hmm.
Interestingly enough, I didn't know, like my definition of it has evolved. Definitely.
Mm.
Um, I found out, okay, so people who are on the live, like, hear me out. This is crazy. So during the lockdown, I dived into my roots. So basically, from the Caribbeans, I come from the Caribbeans. My family is from Guadeloupe, which is a Afro descendant, and we have a strong drum culture, which is called Gwoka, and in French Guyana as well. So these are like my roots as a musician. All right, and so during slavery, the slavery, um, on Sundays, slaves used to go jam together to get together to connect with their spirituality, to connect with their roots and their culture. So the way to connect through their spirituality was the drum, which is called the ka, and in African, in Congolese, because some of the ethnies that were brought from Africa were from Congo and Benin, and the Congolese people have like a strong tradition of drums, and the drum is called ka. All right, thus the guoka, and the slave days were abolished a first time, and then it was reinstated by Napoleon
Mm.
in 1804. So first abolition was 1790 something, and then it was brought back by Napoleon. So not a lot of people knows this, but Napoleon found out that the slaves used to communicate through music, through drums, to organize um, rebellions, to organize sabotage, and to communicate with the other slaves. And so Napoleon found out like that they communicate through music. So he got rid of the drums. He forbid slaves to play on Sundays, So they developed a language which is called Bulugel, and Bulugel is like the traditional beatbox tradition in Guadeloupe.
Oh,
Yeah, this is how
awesome.
strong I found out like the meaning of beatbox is. So basically, it's a way to escape. It's a way to, uh, you know, there's a saying that goes like maroon. Yeah, we maroon. Like slaves used to maroon to escape in the hills to resist. So it's a very much an act of resistance. And
Mm.
in my case, the first thing that I did uh, to by quitting my job because I wasn't really happy. I was there. There were several reasons for it. Um, is that so I tried to go in other companies and stuff, but it wasn't cutting it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go into the entrepreneurial adventure, and
Mm.
I started the. I was like, okay, what am I good at? I was like, oh wait, there's this beatbox thing. Maybe I could, you know,
Mm.
do something about it, like bring a culture in Paris. There's I have a few friends they want to take up the stage, but there's not enough stage. So I'm like, okay, let's go, and that's it. So for me, it resonates a thousand more powerfully now in terms of meaning and sense.
Awesome, man. I'm very glad I asked that question. That's probably the best answer I've ever got. I really love that. And that's yeah, so full of knowledge, and yeah, really happy to learn that. That's put a whole new spin on the origins of beatboxing for me as well. I had no idea about that being a form of communication among the slaves in Guadeloupe. Did you say?
Yeah, yeah, Guadeloupe. Yeah,
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for that. That's really good
same
knowledge.
island as Mike Spoon and a couple other champs.
Ah.
Yeah.
So do you think there's something about being from Guadeloupe that beatboxing's really deep in that culture that produces good beatboxers?
I mean, the heritage in the music is strong though.
Mm.
So
Mm.
there's like so dancehall vibes. We have dancehall vibes. Dancehall comes from Jamaica, but you know, uh, boats were going from one coast. They were going up the coast. So from Congo up until Senegal before they went maybe to Brazil or to the United States. So they took a lot of people from different countries, from different territories, and yeah. So the thing is like in terms of heritage, like it's different. Like the pain has been inherited. Even though you don't want to acknowledge it, it's there.
Mm.
And some people actually kept their traditions of ancestral connection. So in terms of spirituality, it is very strong. And so you could say that, I think. But for now,
Cool.
it remains an hypothesis I am diving into in the hopes of knowing more. So
Cool.
right now, I can't really tell you for sure, but I think it is.
Okay, that's really interesting, man. Well, definitely like drop me a message when you find out more about that. That's the sort of thing that really gets me going, really gets me thinking.
All right.
Um, so yeah, man. So certainly Guadeloupe, you're saying has an awesome beatbox scene, a lot of history and culture associated with beatboxing. But another country that's sort of seen as one of the best countries in the world for beatboxing is France, which is where you are now. So the question I was going to ask is, how do you think that France has produced such an amazing group of beatboxers particularly over the last sort of 5, 10 years?
Hmm. There's several reasons to it. So, that's funny because I was hanging out with a couple of my friends last night, and they were they were exploring the resonance of like Indian music, and I was interested. Okay, so wow, so one of the reasons why they're so good is like they explore a lot of different musical genres and
Mm.
origins. Maybe it may be like through travels or through just like musical openings. I don't know. Everyone has like a unique path to explore, and I find it amazing like why they would connect with one music genre rather than the other.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
I don't know. There's like a resonance, and it's a conversation to have like with each of the of the artist, but as well another reason is that like the col- mm, France has got a strong history of colonialism, I would say, and then so there's a lot of people that come from a lot of different places. So when you listen to BMG or Firebras or Ozzy, when you listen to Robin, who has been traveling to India as well, um, you definitely hear the grooves that you know they've been through. So for example, in my case, I've been to Bulgaria. I lived there for 8 months in a communication agency,
Hmm.
and so by the way, this is like where in Bulgaria it was my first stages and first battles.
Okay.
Weird, and my first online show as well. It's a very weird experience, but let's say that back then I got into a business school, but it was sort of a hold up because I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't supposed to get there, but somehow I made it. I came from a unusual background of like literature and languages. I had no business going to a business school, you know. And through my travels, like in Madrid, I was like, okay, you know, I wanna do this entrepreneurship adventure one day. So I get a bet I better get strapped for this. So I decided, okay, I'll just go to uh, business school, and that's what I did. And there, I realized all my comrades, they were uh, they were interested in working like for L'Oreal, for Danone, for all these like crazy companies, and
Mm-hmm.
but they were looking for a specific experience, and I was like, okay, how do I differentiate myself? I was like, okay, there's like social media. It was like starting to build up. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get the hang of it, and that's how um, yeah, I arrived in Bulgaria. I contacted several agencies in Germany, Munich, and Bulgaria, and I was like, oh, Bulgaria, I've never been there. I might never go there, so I'll go there. Munich,
Yeah.
I'll have plenty of time, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
there, over there, I met like a beatboxer again. So there was no underground metro over there, so there was just a beach. It was just it was just a beach. No, no, no. I know. So a friend of mine, like I don't know, in the company I was working for, they were like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, he does beatboxing," you know.
Mm.
Um, so I had this online show where I was like documenting my experience as a French living in Bulgaria,
Mm.
and in the local park, some dude approached me. I was like, "Oh yeah, man, you beatbox, blah blah blah. Come on, there's another beatboxer at the bar. There's a mic and the stage. We're gonna do a beatbox battle." I was like, "What? Okay, let's go." And yeah, it was like the dude. Shout out to Moshino. The dude. He had like crazy bass, crazy sounds. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I was like, and then after this, like we developed a friendship. And today he's like a yeah, he's a beat maker, and he's also in the beatbox Bulgarian scene.
Awesome, man. Big shout out to Moschino.
Yeah.
So you were talking about sort of exploring different genres and people from France being actually having roots in a lot of places around the world, and that really interested me because there's a real parallel with the UK beatbox scene. There is sort of another, it's sort of an ex-colonial power, and there's a lot of people from lots of different places from around the world. Certainly, like sort of South Asia, a lot of people from there, and the Caribbean as well. But the people from the UK aren't as good at traveling around the world and sort of going to other places and exploring. So I think there's a really interesting divergence there as well. That you were saying that a lot of what inspired you is your ability to travel, and you were saying that other people from France have got that as well. So that's definitely something for me to have a think about and to take away. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, sort of getting back to the French beatbox scene. Um, do you think there's a difference now? Because you were saying that you've been beatboxing for sort of 14 years or so.
Yeah.
Do you see a big difference in the French beatbox scene over that time?
Um, okay, so Like you mean through the 14 years?
Yeah, well, yeah. As long as you've been in France and beatboxing, how much?
So
What have you seen change since then?
okay, I can speak on a couple stuffs, but I haven't really been into the scene like for a very long
Yeah.
time. I'm very new to the scene.
Mm.
However long I've been beatboxing because I've beatboxed in my bathroom for
Yeah.
about 10 years, you know, and then
Yeah.
it took me a lot of time to actually meet a strong scene.
Mm.
So for example, in Bulgaria, I was in 2011,
Mm.
right at the time where um, I think Skiller won his battle, which was organized by which was organized by an advertising agency for Nestle, you know. So
Okay.
in
Yeah.
partnership or something like that. So I had I had known about this event in in Sofia, which was the capital, and I was living in Varna. I was like, oh, it would be cool to organize something similar in Varna, but I didn't have the connections. I was not connected to beatboxers at all, and in France either, because every time that's what I was saying, you know, as much as you may be interested or into beatboxing, if you don't know the artist or the people, you will not get the information of like the events,
Mm.
because I was trying to look for some information about the events, but I was looking in the wrong places.
Mm. Mm.
And so back then I was trying to go. I knew there was like a French championship, so I wanted to see it, but I didn't have the information to go there, and or didn't have the money, or I was away in Spain or something. So um, and then I started working in 2012. Started traveling kind of like around the world. Um, and then at some point, I was like, oh, I know. I was working on a hip hop blog with some friends trying to launch. So I was like, okay, I'm going uh, to cover the news for the beatbox scene. And there was a blog called Backpackers in France, which covered uh, the 2015 promotion of the event. I was like, okay, so I was living in Toulouse, so I went to Nantes. I traveled with my then girlfriend, which was who was from Bulgaria.
Mm.
She came to study in Bordeaux. I was like, okay, let's meet up there. And I didn't understand a thing that was going on stage. But that's where I met a lot of beatboxers. So, but my conception of beatbox was like clean sounds and proper groove. So I remember I was like rooting for guys like Nash,
Mm.
who was like crazy drum set,
Mm. Mm.
and yeah, he's into comedy.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I didn't understand like what was doing BMG, FIB, and it took me time to study and understand. And also I met finally Wawad, who had been in touch. I think in 2013 I tried to start a scene. 2013 I tried to start a scene in Toulouse,
Mm.
but I was nobody. I didn't understand the codes. I didn't know what was going on. I just wanted beatbox, you know. So the
Yeah.
code
Yeah.
was there, you know.
Mm.
And I sent like a message to Beat Test, to Wawa, to other guys. Okay, yeah, let's do something. But
Mm.
back then, Wawa was already maybe champ, or he was like he was on the come up like with his animals video,
Mhm.
and I don't know, it's so funny. Like and then at the French championships, I saw Wawad, and he told me, you know, there's a monthly battle in Toulouse. I'm like, excuse me, what? You mean to tell me that I've I've scrutinized all the cultural magazines about beatbox events. You telling me there's a monthly beatbox battle in my city, and I don't know about it? And it was just at that time, like Tioneb had started this scene called the Underground Beatbox Battle with a YouTube channel and yeah, kids that wanted to meet up, you know, basically, and we joined in this like creepy cave. It was like very small cave. Uh, where everybody was smoking. You know, you're not supposed to smoke in France, you know, in public places. But there, they were like, okay, it was going on. But that's where I met Kenozen. That's where I met Ozzy, Akinde, and we were just like, we were just starting. You know, we sucked. But like in my mind, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going there, and it was my first real battle, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take this win, like hold up, nobody knows me, so it's good. And then boom, first round, I'm out. I'm like, okay, I gotta work this around, and from this point on, I considered myself a beginner, and to this day, I consider myself a beginner. So that's why, like, I think um, in my mind there was a huge shift in the way I worked my beatbox or in the way I conceptualized the beatbox, and that's I was like, okay, let's explore, let's work on the basics. Karen FX had like crazy tutorials on YouTube. I worked them mad because I know like next month I wanna do something. I wanna get better. I wanna be better, and I knew these guys were like going to work, and this months after months, like we started to grow, and so December 2015 was my first battle, and in May 2016, the company I was working for, they told me, okay, Xavier, we're going to move you to Paris. I'm like, okay, but then I didn't want to move to Paris because like I just discovered this growing scene, and every month there was a beatbox event. I'm like, no, and then at some event I met Polo. Polo, Mr. Groove. I knew he was from Paris, and he told me, yeah, there's a lot of events in Paris, and okay, so can I reach out to you guys? I want to meet, and my passion for beatbox like was like fire. Was there was like burning like a volcano, and it was like he told me, yeah, there's lots of events. I was like, okay, what, every month? No, but like from January to May, there's one jam session per month. So I'm like, okay. And what else? And yeah, but that's a lot already. I'm like, yeah, coming from Toulouse,
Yeah.
Really? Okay, wow. And then I arrived in Toulouse and I met Oxygen. I met other guys, Skills, Bakary. I met the Brain. Before I met like all the big names, although I had met them at the GBB.
Yeah.
I think the French Champ 2015 was the starting point where like I started to go to every big event. Because I had the money, so I was like, okay, I can go to UK. So I came to the UK scene. I went to check out the GBB, and I had my best friend living over there, so I didn't have any other excuse to go to Basel every year, And,
cool, man. Awesome. Yeah, I just want to take a moment to just highlight that one point of your attitude of you've been beatboxing for 14 years and you still see yourself a beginner. And like I'd say the same thing as well. I think it's really healthy as a beatboxer to just always think of yourself as a beginner in the way you approach your learning, and to always think that there's something important you can learn from every beatboxer that you meet, and every show that you go to see, and every experience you have. There's something you can take away from that to improve your beatboxing. So I just want to take a moment to highlight that as an awesome attitude to have.
Thanks.
So yeah, we've talked a lot about kind of the French scene and your own story. And I wanted to kind of start to look a little bit at the intersection between those, where those things cross. So the things that you're doing now in Paris, to kind of develop the scene there. So maybe what you've been working with the Paname Beatbox Hustlers, is that right? Do you want to tell me a little bit about what that's involved, what you've done with that, and where it is at the moment?
Yeah, right now it's pretty much at a standstill in terms of events, but doesn't mean we're we've stopped or we're stopping working. We're actually working on an online show,
Mm.
which gathers uh, gastronomy, rap, and beatbox. So we've already published 5 episodes. It was created by a friend of mine. A shout out to MC Le.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he's working. He's been working with River, Julieta,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Andros, Vent, and so there's 5 episodes that are out right now on YouTube.
Mm.
And the sixth one has been shot after the lockdown and is going to come out in October. So
Mm-hmm.
we're working on the promotion at the moment of this show, and hoping to do a live event to to present the artists that we've worked with, and the chefs as well. So basically, the concept of the episodes are the crew meets, a discovers a restaurant. They talk with the chef,
Mm.
who presents recipe,
Mm-hmm.
and the artist, the rapper, they write on this recipe, and they make creation out of this.
Amazing, man. That sounds like a really fun idea. It's also possibly like the most French idea I've heard. It's like you got rap and beatboxing, and it's like, oh, what else goes naturally with rap and beatboxing? Yes, gastronomy. That's what goes with it.
No, but so it's very much linked to the roots of the creator. So MC Lo is the original creator behind this idea.
Yeah.
He's a chef. Like there's a lot of jams that we've done at his place. Base Venture can tell you about his crazy house. There's been collabs, BMG, Kim. They all went there. Um, and actually Hobbit too, because he slept there for the French championships with Pichen. So now it's became kind of a magic place.
Yeah.
There's a crazy library which looks like I don't know, Dumbledore's office. And then there's like his kitchen is like really where everything is happening. He's always cooking. He's really passionate about cooking. When he raps better when he raps about food. So it was pretty much logical for him, and the idea of having a interactive guide of the neighborhood where we all started
Mm.
was logical. So
Yeah.
you know how Paris is organized into a snail in terms of district. We focused on the 18th district, like the
Mhm.
restaurants of the 18th district. And for the second season, we're gonna go into other districts where we've done scenes as well.
Cool. That sounds like a really cool project. So it sounds like you and the Hustlers are adapting well to the lockdown and the fact that you can't do live shows. Have you got any sort of general tips or advice for other beatboxers and musicians who are in a similar position?
Yeah, I would say several stuffs. Just like to go over a little quickly to what you just underlined in my previous answer. Like, yeah, being a beginner, like considering myself as a beginner has helped me a lot, because whenever I do workshops, I meet like kids, babies, or adults. They are not considered, they don't consider themselves beatboxers, but they all like teach me one thing or something, you know, like my craziest sounds come from other people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So even like the raptor roll, for example, it was found by accident because a friend of mine who was not related to beatbox, she goes, it's a girl, she's like, yeah, I don't understand how you do all these noises, you know. And then she goes like doing like a throat kick. I'm like, what? Okay. But kids as well, like they teach you so much more. So being open and listening is, I think, is the, and Razel used to say this, like listening is the most important thing in beatbox. So this would be my first advice to beatboxers. And also the second one would be not listen to your roots, but like get inside yourself and don't shut down all, I mean, other endeavors, like, because beatbox is not only, the individuals are not only focused about on one passion. Like very often I would meet like young beatboxers who tell me, yeah, I'm a dancer, I'm a basketballer, I'm a, I don't know, frisbee player, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but I don't know how to, I mean, I don't know where to focus, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's no strategy, I believe. I think if you open to like fully to your passions, consider focusing on like by periods. What you will learn in this period um, will teach you a lot for your next adventure or for your next focused on your other passions, be it drawing, be it
Mm-hmm.
books. Reef's one is probably like the best example of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, so yeah, I would say yeah, listen, explore all your passions like fully, and yeah, try to build something, mm, just for for your own pleasure.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
the last tip I would give is yeah, try to make yourself enjoy what you do. Don't do it like for other people, because this is like the biggest break to your creativity.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I've been struggling for like during the last year after the win at the Seven to Smoke. I was like, okay, there's a lot of pressure. I'm like, okay, what do I do? No, I should do this. No, but and right now uh, getting in on good terms with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to rebuild this relationship with myself so that I can put out like a something that I like instead of something that I think people expect of me. You know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of really good advice there. Yeah, I love all of that. Yeah, definitely about having, like, particularly about having different ideas and different things that you can pursue. That's one that
Yeah.
I've found really useful as well. And whenever I get to a point where I've got a bit of a mental block, or there's something which I feel like I can't take to a next step with beatboxing, I always
Yeah.
go and I'll write some lyrics, or I'll go and do something else, like I used to do taekwondo as well, and focus on
Mm.
something slightly different. And then when you come back to it, suddenly you've got all of these new
Yeah.
ideas that just come really easily, really just flow out of you. So yeah, that's an awesome piece of advice. I love that. Um, we're coming up to 7 o'clock, so
Ooh.
but definitely before we go, I want to ask a few more questions right at the end, if we've got time.
Yep.
But before we go, I definitely want to hear a showcase from you, man. So
Hi.
yeah, yeah. I think I'm gonna hand over to you, and I'll give you, well, yeah, let's say the next sort of 10 minutes or so, to just have a little jam and show us what you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Okay. So, can you guys hear me properly? Let's make a sound check. Can you hear me well? And the jump. I want to see, I want to see, I want to see thunder in the chat. You better run for your life. There's a rat around. You better run for your life. Cause it's coming for you. He's coming for you. He's coming for you. How you feeling out there? I got blood spilling down my cheeks. I see blood spread across the road. It's about to be murder. It's about to be a murder. I got blood spilling down my cheeks. I see blood spread across the road. It's about to be murder. It's about to be a murder. It's about to be a murder. I got blood spilling down my cheeks. I see blood spread across the road. It's about to be a murder. It's about to be a murder. Yeah. Okay. I've got another one. Last one, if you still have time. I don't know.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah. Mm, 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 mm. I've been trying to push up you my but you never answered any now I'm drinking pulled up shots of I've been trying to push up your mouth. I've been trying to my but I've never had any cup. Bow up, drinking up shots of rum. I've been trying to feel my cause I'm tired of this one way. Cause I'm tired of this one way. Cause I'm tired of this one way. I've been trying to show you my love. But I've never answered any call. While I'm drinking other shots of rum. I've been trying to show you my. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Box gone. Thanks a lot. Bye.
No worries, man. Absolute pleasure to have you. Yeah, awesome stuff there. Really enjoyed the sort of musical style, and particularly the sort of like the smooth throat bass and like lots of different unique sounds and little click rolls and yeah, loads of stuff to enjoy and for me to take away and think about there. I love that.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. Big shout out to Yason.
Yeah, big shout out to Yason. Big shout out to BoxCon International, putting it all together. Yeah, I think probably we'll call it there because we're already a little bit over the top. But just before we go, are there any other events or groups or beatboxers that either you're working with or that you want to shout out to?
Yeah, so there's many stuffs going on right now. So right now I'm working with the Scratch van, which takes some of me like in other places of the city, and also shout out to Duge, who's like working on a crazy project online for an online beatbox school, and he's gonna have like crazy beatboxers to teach all the passionate amateurs around, and even the professionals who wants to step up a little more, and it's kind of, I see every beatboxer as a kind of a school of life, from who you can learn from. So taking a workshop there might learn you a thing or two. So there you go check out Liar Beatbox, Liar Bird Beatbox. Yeah,
cool, man. Well, thank you one more time for joining us, and I've really enjoyed talking to you. And hopefully, very soon, all of this madness will be lifted, and we can come and meet up in person and have a little jam together.
Finally, I'll come to London for sure. I can't wait.
Cool, man. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. If you're in the UK, give me a shout. You'll be really welcome to stay at my place in Bristol if you find yourself in the west of England as well. So yeah, man, I'd love to catch up with you.
Yeah, sure. Link up. Esh.
Esh.